Well, thank you everyone for joining me, and Merry Christmas to you. So it's going to be Christmas here in a couple days. I love the Christmas time of year. We just had the winter solstice, the longest night of the year, and it's a wonderful time for really going inward. And so yes, it's so good to see you all. I did have a couple announcements here. This satsang is supported by donation, and there's a link on my website on how to donate. So thank you for supporting the Sangha. A big thank you to Ivy and Myrna, Aaron, Tatiana, Emily, Kathy, Lee Jones, Philip, Linda, and Sean Summers. Thank you all so much. And of course, if there's any of you who I missed, a big thank you to you as well. It's so important that we support this work, because then this work can be shared. It can be shared with others all around the world. This is how the Dharma spreads. The Dharma spreads through generosity. In the Buddhist tradition, we call it dana. It's this act of giving. And so when you receive something, you benefit, and so you give to support the sharing, so others just like you may be touched. And so I want to thank you all, and it's so good to be here with everyone tonight, with Ruth and Connie and Jacqueline and Dawn and Rhonda and Romaine and Angelica and Suzanne. So good to be here with you all. So I have very many questions tonight, as always, and of course, if anyone here live has a question, you're welcome to type one in, or to say you want to get a hold of the mic if you're on Zoom, and I'd be happy to do that. And so the title of tonight's satsang is Christmas Compassion. That's what Christmas is truly about. It's a celebration of compassion, the celebration of giving one's life, giving one's life for love, And so I have, so many people I was meeting with this week. I think this week must have been a difficult week for a lot of individuals, but there's many people who came to me in a state of hopelessness. And the teachings of the gospel, the teachings of the Buddha, the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, the teachings of the Buddha Sutra and the Holy Quran were teachings of hope based in strength and love and this deeper compassion. But when we find ourselves lost in pain, we have to be willing to love that which is within us. If we cannot love ourselves, we're not going to go very far on the path. If we cannot love ourselves, we'll be lost in this world, because this world is hard. There's no doubt about it. It's great difficulty we experience here in our human body. Here on earth, there's great difficulty. And so some people, maybe some of you have had really brutal lives. And when you have a brutal life, it's easy to give up hope. It's easy to lose hope and to fall into hopelessness. But compassion is the nectar that we must feed ourselves if we find ourselves hopeless or in pain or confused or just in a, what I'll call a morbidly mundane state of mind. And by that I mean, some of us, we just get stuck. in a place where we're not moving forward, not really going backwards. We're just like hanging out in limbo land. And in order to counteract these forces of mind, these forces of ego and habit, we have to be in touch with compassion. And so let's just talk about, well, what does that mean, Craig? What does it mean to be in touch with compassion? Well, the good news is compassion is your true nature. If we can become quiet right here, right now, and we'll give ourselves permission just to go inward. And simply drop out of your mind and get in touch with the quiet radiance, the beauty, this ever-present luminosity of your heart. And if your heart was not luminous, if your nature was not luminous, well, our bodies would go limp. And so I'm going to invite you to feel into the quiet presence of aliveness that you are. To feel into this quiet, innocent nature that you are is made up of many qualities. And so as I say them out loud, I encourage you to feel these, to notice these. So as we're going inward, we're noticing this quiet presence of spaciousness, this quiet presence of aliveness, this gentleness and tenderness, and this quiet strength. And by strength, I mean there's a presence here, a very gentle, loving presence. My teacher used to call this our inextinguishable light. And so I encourage you to feel into this light within you that hasn't been squashed, that hasn't been put out. No matter how much pain and suffering any of us have been through, there's this quiet, awake, aware light. And so we're just breathing and feeling into this light. And so I'm going to invite you to notice this light in the center of your chest, in your heart chakra. And so you feel the surface of your chest and just go inward, 2 or 3 or 4 inches toward the spine. You begin to notice this very subtle light, which is innately good, innately beautiful. And so we're feeling into this. We're saying, yes, this goodness is me. This goodness is what I am. And so I encourage you to allow yourself to fall fully into the goodness of your heart. And from this space, allow this goodness to explode, to flow out the front of your heart, the back, the sides, to awaken the solar plexus, the belly, the pelvis, the legs, the feet, the arms, the hand, the throat chakra, the space of the third eye, the crown chakra. Notice everything lighting up. And this doesn't have to be any great mystery. Your job is to directly experience your aliveness. Your aliveness. And so if you happen to be in pain anywhere in the body, I'm going to encourage you to get in touch with this aliveness first. Most of us, we make the mistake of being in pain, being in touch with the pain first and identifying with the pain and then never leaving the pain. In order to be free, you have to identify with the fundamental, innate presence of goodness that you are first. And so we're feeling into this goodness. And even noticing that there's something awake, there's something aware, there's something good about me that is noticing this pain, that is noticing heartache, or perhaps is noticing bliss and abundance and freedom. But if there's any tightness or tension and pain in the body, it's from this space of goodness that we compassionately embrace it. We say, yes, I see you. And we take a deep breath and we say, may I be free of this suffering. May I be free. May I be free of this suffering. And so we're breathing in, we're breathing out. It's this very gentle mantra. May I be free of this suffering. We say it with a smile inwardly, knowing and expecting this pain, this suffering to begin to lift. And so I encourage you to breathe in, to breathe out, and just let it come and let it go. Let it come and let it go. Just breathing in, breathing out. May I be free of this suffering. May I smile in places of darkness. May I smile where my body is tight and tense and I'm having difficulty. May I smile. May I smile. And so I encourage you to take a couple more deep, full belly breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. And acknowledging that what you are is good. What you are is divine. Fundamentally divine. And so yes, breathing in and breathing out. And knowing this quiet presence of divinity as ourself. As ourself. Allowing the pain to release. Becoming more deeply connected with our compassionate nature. And of course, if you find yourself in such a crisis that you can't let go, I invite you to call upon God and say, Lord, will you come into me? Will you bless me with your light and love? Will you fill my heart with the highest? And so with that, we're just inviting God's grace to come down through the crown chakra, through the space of the third eye, through the throat, into the heart, and filling the body, flooding the body with love. Ask, and you shall receive. Ask, and you shall receive. And so, I have lots of questions here this evening, but I want to thank you again for joining me. And so please know, if you want to know the truth of compassion, you must also know the truth of strength. Many people, they try to get in touch with compassion, but they say, I don't feel it. I only feel pain. How can I be compassionate when I'm in pain? So compassion is that innocent space which registers the pain. And as we breathe into that innocent space, that space which is awake and aware, I encourage you to notice that this awake awareness is simultaneously loving. And we invite this love that we are, just our fundamental nature, to love whatever aspect of ourself is hurting. We must do this. And we must be strong and courageous. And so if you feel into your presence, can you notice that your presence is the only thing which does not die? Everything else in your life comes and goes. All your emotions, every thought you've ever had, every dream or expectation or fantasy or lover or whatever it is, dog or cat or barnyard animal, everything comes and goes. Except your presence. Your presence is 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000,000 times stronger than you could ever imagine. For your presence is the very presence, is the very nature of God. The very nature of God. How could it be otherwise? You are life itself. You outlive every experience you've ever had. If you find yourself in pain and heartache, in despair and hopelessness, there's a quiet presence there which outlives it all. That quiet presence is the presence of strength. And so I encourage you, if you're feeling hopeless, get in touch with this strength and give yourself permission to be compassionate. Compassionate in the face of despair. Compassionate in the face of despair. And so I'll get into the questions. So hello, everyone. Hello, Sam and Michelle and Brad. Thank you and Brett. Thanks for joining us. Hello there, Craig. I finally figured out the time of your gathering. Okay, good. Your words really resonate deeply with me. Okay, well, thank you. I'm glad. What do I think of the Wim Hof breathing method? I generally practice Qigong and silent meditation. I had a couple experiences that were profound, powerful, and electric. It almost seemed alien. Okay, thank you, Brett, for this question. There's many breathing methods. There's many powerful mantras. I've been trained in all kinds of secret yogic breaths and techniques, and this and that. Most of the secret ones are on the internet now, by the way, but so don't feel like you are missing out. When I was young, with my teacher, he would give me these, train me in these very incredible yogic pranayamas, and I found them very helpful, to be honest. And so, Brad, if you find great benefit from the Wim Hof method, then please go forward with it. Someone asked me the other day, Craig, what do you think of transformational breath, which is kind of an offshoot of the rebirthing movement, the breathwork movement? I think all these things are great. I think yoga is great. I think mantras are great. Do what works, my friend. Do what works. Just don't be fooled by the sales pitch. Sometimes, I saw something pop up on my YouTube feed, the Wim Hof breathing method. Learn this technique and you will never be sick again. And it's like, come on now. What planet do we live on? We live on planet Earth, and sickness, old age, and death are things we cannot outrun. We cannot outrun. But yes, if you're doing some type of breath work or Qigong and you find it beneficial, beautiful. I mean, what all these methods do is they enliven your prana. And it's good to have prana that's very much alive. When your prana is very much alive and we're, have lots of energy moving through our body, we are less likely to get sick, less likely to become depressed, less likely to fall into despair and hopelessness. And so, yes, sometimes pranayama can be very helpful. Sometimes it can be very, very helpful. The Wim Hof method, I was trained in this, many years ago, but it wasn't called that. It was, called some yogic pranayama. All these breaths have been around for thousands of years, my friend. So if you find them useful, yes, do them more so, please. Please, it's just invigorating your energy. But don't become addicted to the breath. Don't become attached to it. Don't fall prey to the sales pitch of anything. Of anything. The Buddha, he taught in a way where he offered the Four Noble Truths. And his teaching was just starting. Then he had the Eightfold Path. And then if you look at everything the Buddha wrote, he wrote volumes and volumes. It was written down after he spoke. And then the thousands of Buddhas who came after him, there was thousands and thousands of more volumes that were written. And so sometimes we think that one breath or one mantra or one method or one teacher or guru or experience of non-duality is going to save us. It's going to be the end-all be-all. It's not the case, my friend. Not the case. I encourage you to give yourself fully to the path. Whether that means meditation and yoga and pranayama and singing and chanting and prayer. I'm a fan of it all, my friend. Because being a human being is very complicated. It's confusing. It's messy. And we need different things at different stages in our journey. And so, yes, it's important to have all kinds of tools, quote unquote, in our tool belt. But in order to be free, you must know that what you are is God. What you are is divine. That your nature is divinity. In every moment you are divine. In every moment you are a goddess. Whether you feel wonderful or feel horrid, what you are is divine. We must wake up to this fundamental truth. And if breath work is part of that waking up, beautiful. But you must remember, divinity is your nature. It's not the breath that makes you your nature. Your nature is eternal. Eternal. Okay, beautiful question, Brad. Thank you. Craig, I would like to work with you. I did notice my energy got very intense and lots of bliss came oozing out of my heart. Beautiful. This is from Lisa. After that, a lot of fear started to travel through my body and the pressure in my stomach got more intense. Yes, this too is normal. So it's a bit scary. I just can't keep loving in this state of suffering anymore. Was that my own energy or was that yours? Well, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Was that my own energy? So the fear, sweetie, the fear was your body reacting to a lot of energy moving through you. So I'll call that yours, but truly fear is impersonal. None of it belongs to any of us. And so, yes, this is common. When you meet with a teacher, oftentimes you can feel a lot of bliss, a lot of grace in their presence. We call that transmission. And then afterwards, it's very common for old pain, old repressed pain to just all of a sudden come forward. And you might say, what's going on here? I thought I was in bliss. Why is this pain coming forward? The pain comes forward just like a moth to the light. buried pain within us comes forward after we meditate, after we do yoga, after we get a massage, after we meet with a teacher. This is completely normal. I have this, it's very common in me when I go and receive body work. I feel really blissful during the session. Then about an hour and a half later, I feel kind of like junk. And that's, as my body starts to detoxify the old pain and the old emotion as it's kind of released out of the fat tissues. That's why they tell you in massage, drink lots of water after the massage, because your body will be detoxifying. And so you may feel lovely and blissful. I tell this too with people, especially if they have a big emotional reaction after meeting with me. I remind them, drink lots of water. It's good. It helps to flush the old energy and the stuff that was detoxified out of the system. And so this is common. But see, this is where a lot of people give up. Their whole spiritual life is based on how they feel. If I feel good, I do more. If I feel bad, I do less. But the spiritual path is very much like the path of physical fitness. What do they say? No pain, no gain. If you're facing pain, you're healing. That's good. That's good. Now, all of us would love just to rest in a land of bliss for the entirety of our lifetime. And we can do that when we leave our earthly body and go to heaven. But when we live here on planet Earth, we live in an evolutionary world. We have an evolutionary body. And, everything in our life is at some level of evolution. And so if our parents caused us pain, and then they passed this pain and conditioning down to us, we have a choice. We can avoid that pain. We can fight with that pain. We can resist that pain. We can ignore that pain. We can do all kinds of things. But if you face the pain, you open to the possibility of releasing the pain, healing, transforming, and stepping into a greater consciousness. A consciousness which is beyond pain. And so we must know this, that on the path, we eternally have this choice to avoid and live in the world of what the Buddha called samsara. In samsara, we're just kind of like just running in circles, just chasing after some fantasy which doesn't exist. But it's always just right around the corner. I was talking to my friend Suzanne this week. She called it, what is it, like the hamster on a wheel, the hamster wheel, where it's just like running and running and running. I always thought that was so funny, that hamsters would do that. When I was a little boy, I'd go to my friend's house and I'd just sit and watch that hamster in the cage, just running on that wheel. Oh, boy, how bizarre. Doesn't he get bored? And see, at some point on the path, when we mature, or we get bored, we say, there's got to be another way. There's got to be another way than avoiding pain. When I was a kid, someone introduced us, like someone's older brother introduced us to marijuana, and everyone, all my friends started smoking marijuana, and I just noticed, okay, it's, kind of fun at first, but nothing changes. If we just keep smoking again and again and again, nothing changes. If we keep drinking again and again, or eating or whatever, or, surfing the internet, nothing changes. I wanted to live in a greater state of consciousness, which was permanent. And so when I met my teacher, he introduced me to a permanent state of consciousness. I thought, oh yes, oh yes, this is what I want. I want to live in freedom. I want to live with a big, compassionate heart. I want to learn to let go of this suffering. And there's many ways. Many ways to open to this truth. Like sometimes when we're in a lot of pain, we need to buy a punching bag and punch it out of us. Sometimes it's good to exercise and run. Sometimes it's good to do some yoga and just lay back and do big heart openers and hip openers. Sometimes it's good to do breath work or body work or chiropractics or meditation. I like it all. I like it all. It's good to move this energy, this old energy out of the body. Because we suffer when energy gets stuck in the body. And so much of what happens to people is it's just purely energetics. There's energy stuck in the body and it needs to move. And my Lord, if that means, you need to buy a punching bag and just move some of that energy out of you, God bless you. Go forward in the light. Go forward in the light. If it means more yoga, then more yoga, please. You must listen to your intuition and follow your truth. One of the things that I found with many individuals when they first start to meditate, they feel so dead inside that they just get bored. And so I tell them, exercise first. Exercise for 15 or 20 or 30 minutes, and you'll notice your sense of awareness increases tenfold. It'll be so much easier to find this fundamental sense of aliveness. After you've gone for a run, after you've done 15 minutes of yoga. Some people, their consciousness, it just is so dead or so thick or so dull. Their prana's not awake. And so when they look inward, they just see nothing. They feel nothing. It just feels kind of cold and dead. And so if that's you, I encourage you to run, to exercise, to do yoga, and then sit down and meditate. And notice your whole body lighting up, your subtle energetic body coming alive. And so this is good. Okay, let's see. Lots of questions here. This one I believe is from Lee. Hi, Craig. I don't know how to react to my brother being in jail in Saudi Arabia. He got himself in some trouble. Feel worried about him. Don't need to go into details. But I want to surrender to God, but I also feel compelled to take action. What do I do? He has a court hearing on Monday. God willing, they'll release him. Lee, yes, take action, pray. Lee, my friend, if you were my brother and I found myself in jail in Saudi Arabia, I would want you to take action, whatever that would mean. Help me get a lawyer, call the embassy, send me some money, do whatever you can to help me, my friend. And yes, as always, with anything in life, especially if it's something on the other side of the planet, we give it to God. If it's right here in our life, we give it to God. So first and foremost, we call upon God. Say, God, will you bless Lee's brother? Will you bless Lee? Will you bless us all, Lord? For all of us. So many of us here on planet Earth feel as if we're in a prison cell. Help us to free ourselves from bondage, Lord. Yes, my friend. Lee, if action is required, if there's something you can do to help a friend, this is one of the most highest states of compassion. Is not to sit just in meditation. The highest state of compassion is action. So please, my friend, act, please. Just right before watching this, or before starting my class tonight, I was getting ready to log online, and I saw something pop up on Facebook, and it was these kids, and they were in Yemen, and they were starving. It was an aid organization. It said, click here to donate. So I clicked here and donated. I said, gosh, these kids are suffering so much. My government is a part of this world. They are my brothers and sisters in Yemen. And so can we help them? Can we support them? Act. Compassionate action. This is what our planet needs. Whether we're talking about global warming, Yes, use less energy, eat low on the food chain. We're talking about our brothers and sisters suffering. Reach out and be kind to them, be loving to them. Pray for them, hold their hand through the darkness. Be the light. Be the light in the world, my friend. This is your job. This is all of our job, is to be the light in the world. Be the light. Okay. This is from Michelle. Craig, have you heard of TRE? It's great body trauma release. Yes, Michelle, I've heard of TRE. TRE is kind of fun. So I wish I knew what it stands for. Maybe someone can type it in. I think it's trauma release. I want to call it TRM, trauma release method. But it can be very, very healing for individuals. Basically, you're helping the body to shake, and you're shaking the trauma out of the body, because trauma is stored in our mind, it's stored in our emotion, and it's literally stored in our cells. And so one of the greatest ways of releasing trauma is helping the body to shake. And TRE is a fantastic way of helping with this. Yes, very beautiful, Michelle. This is from Brett. Brett says, Craig, it's really comforting to hear that you and all these others are normalizing this pain. I noticed, yes, pain is normal here on planet Earth, my friend. Good. I noticed that my body seems to be processing it at its own pace. Don't always know when it's going to arise. Try to just live sort of like on autopilot, and be in a sort of autopilot. Then be with the pain when it comes up behind the eyes or in the throat. Yes, it's good. It's good, my friend. You'll notice that this pain, when it starts to release, it'll come up. It'll come out, tears through your eyes. This is good. This is how the body releases. Let's see here. My father told me to go see a healer, but I was apprehensive and worried it might accelerate this place of pain. Releasing it fry my nervous system. Brett, your nervous system cannot be fried. You know, a lot of people write about this on the internet. My nervous system was fried. And it's like, your nervous system can take a lot. Can you get overwhelmed? Sure. Can you have a panic attack? Sure. But listen, it's all energy. You must trust your own strength, my friend. And so this question is the exact question I started with in the beginning. Can you trust the strength of your nervous system, the strength of your soul, the strength of your true nature, my friend? Can you trust? Pain is here to teach us how strong we are, how vibrant we are, how indestructible we are. We live in an evolutionary world, and so when we're letting go of the old, you'll feel a release of pain. When you're stepping into something new, you'll feel like the pain of evolution, like your evolving edge, the friction of, can I do this? I don't think I can do it. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to try to do it. And so walk forward in the light, my friend. Walk forward in the light. This is the way forward. Okay. Another question. Don't lose hope, Brad. Have faith in your inherent strength. Your inherent strength, nothing can kill you. And if you don't believe me, come see me in heaven. Come see me in heaven. We'll see, oh yeah, nothing can kill us. Maybe it'll take our body, but nothing's going to kill us. Craig, I have another question. As I was meditating this morning on my long time intent to consciously choose my behavior, I saw something beautiful, but I slipped into an egoic fantasy instantly. As I looked back more times, I could not see around the confused ego. Yes, and so people get into this question of free will. Like, do we have choice or not? Of course you have choice. Consciously choose your behavior. If you want to consciously choose your behavior, get to know your heart. It's the only way forward, my friend. People think they can do this with their mind, but Oftentimes in our mind, we'll just be doing lots and lots of thinking, about which way is right, which way is wrong. Is there free will? Is there not free will? You get lost in a fantasy world. If you want to consciously choose your behavior, you must be in touch with your heart. Your heart is beyond the conditioning of the past. It's beyond the conditioning of the ego. If you want to be awake in the world, you must be in touch with your heart. Must be in touch with your heart. So you let the quiet, still voice of your heart lead you forward. Whatever the choice is, whatever action needs to come forward, you listen to your heart. There's so many people, they just struggle with their mind. They get lost in their mind. But when you come into your heart, it's very simple. There's this quiet, awake, aware presence. And the invitation is to follow this truth. Follow this truth. Okay, beautiful. This is from Lisa. Craig, what is the best manifestation of compassion towards the ones that harm us? Much love and gratitude. Hi, Lisa from Guatemala. It's been a long time. And so the question is, the best compassion we can have to ones who harm us. Well, the first thing is you have to be compassionate toward yourself. You must make sure you are safe and in a good place. If your body does not feel safe, it's very difficult to be compassionate. Extremely difficult. And so it's important that you get yourself into a safe space, whether that means physical safety or energetic safety. You must get in touch with your indestructible nature. And from this place, ask your heart, how shall I respond to them? Shall I pray for them? Shall I send them love? Shall I be kind to them and smile? I love the practice of killing someone with kindness. When they're mean, you kill them with kindness. If I find meanness within myself, I kill it with kindness. Kill it with kindness. If there's heartache or despair, kill it with kindness. So compassion, one of the best definitions of compassion that I heard was simply, the word compassion means understanding. Understanding that those who harm you, that they are in tremendous pain. They're in tremendous pain. And when others are in pain, they just act mean. It's the only reason people act mean on this planet, is because they're in pain. So if they act mean, grumpy, agitated, they ignore you, reject you, lash out at you, call you names, abuse you, it's because they are hurting. Because they're hurting. If we want the world to change, if we want it to end this pain, we must respond with love and compassion. Now, of course, if someone is physically abusive towards us, then you need to leave the situation, and we pray for them, we send them love and light. But we have to take care of ourselves first. If it's someone just generally grumpy around us, well, we can be kind. It's one of the great things that I discovered one day is that when someone's mean, they don't have power over me. I don't have to change my consciousness because someone else is mean. I don't have to sink to their level. I can still be loving, and it doesn't have to ruin my day. If someone is vicious, and sometimes I actually find it humorous, like, wow, look at that enthusiastic display of aggressiveness or passive aggressiveness or anger or whatever it is. It can be quite silly sometimes. And so, can we respond with love? When someone's mean, can we respond with love? It's very confusing for the person who's mean. It's good confusing though. Good confusing. Sometimes it just shocks them into, actually meeting you, actually waking up from their pain. So that's a beautiful question, Lisa. Can we be kind to those who harm us? This is a great question for inquiry. Who is it? Who is it within me that can choose to be kind when there's pain? I want to know that person. Who is it within me who can choose to be kind in the company of pain or sadness or heartache or rage? I want to get to know that one. So thank you, Lisa. Okay. Let's see here. I received a lot of questions here on Kundalini. And so for those of you who aren't so familiar with Kundalini, you don't have to worry too much about it. But Kundalini is simply a lot of energy moving through the body. So sometimes there's this force that rushes up the spine, it wakes up all the chakra centers, and it can make our nervous system go a little nutty or a little haywire. And so Vikas, I hope I pronounced your name right, Vikas from India, wrote, Craig, I cannot control this intense Kundalini energy. I cannot sleep. My body is shaking. I do spontaneous yoga, asanas. Please help me to control this energy. My friend, the energy of Kundalini is the energy of creation. We do not control it. Your choice is to resist it or to let go into it. This is true when we have a lot of energy that's waking up on the path. We can resist it or let go into it. If you want to experience the truth of this energy, you must let go into it. But if the energy is overwhelming, you can get grounded by practicing yoga, by going for long walks, by working in a garden, by shoveling snow, by doing physical work. You can eat heavy foods like potatoes and yams and carrots. You can get rooted in your body and just notice this is simply energy. That's all it is energy. Your body shakes. That's a good sign. You have a lot of energy moving through you, my friend. You don't need to fear this. Why would we fear God? If you're on the path and you're meditating and you notice yourself starting to shake and tremble a little bit, that's good. It's a good sign. Some Christians, they go into speaking in tongues. They say hallelujah. It's a good sign. We're feeling the Holy Spirit move through our body. Yeah, just let it move through you, my friend. You don't control it. When we try to control God's grace, everything goes haywire. Everything goes haywire. Okay, next person writes. I think this is from Mila. Mila writes, Craig, I'm in the third stage of Kundalini. Not sure what that means, but and she's experiencing heat waves, memory loss, body shaking, sort of psychosis, muscles trembling in the legs, swollen feet, depression, burning pain in the brain, and hair falling off. So look, if you're having your hair fall out or if you're having, swollen feet or something crazy, I encourage you to go to the doctor. Kundalini is energy. It's not going to make your hair fall out. It's not going to make your feet swell. It may be intense. Sometimes our blood pressure increases and this and that. But, if you're having serious symptoms, it's always wise just to go and get checked out. In regards to psychosis, it all depends on what people mean by psychosis. So with psychosis, sometimes when we get a lot of energy moved through the body, we can have just lots of thoughts, and the thoughts can be kind of crazy. And so when we're having a strong, powerful, energetic awakening, we can have really wild thoughts, dramatic thoughts. Your job is to let them come and go and just stay with the Dharma, stay with the truth. If you're a good Christian, you call out to Jesus. You ask him to hold you. You call upon Mary. He has to be held in the light. But your subtle energetic body is lighting up. This is a good sign. If you're having really crazy symptoms, go see a doctor. But in general, if you feel heat, if you feel burning, if you feel light, all of this is normal. All of this is good. Sometimes we can have a little bit of anxiety or this or that. And oftentimes that's just the energy coming into direct contact, with old pain in the body, with old pain. And yes, hi Jeff, good to see you. Okay, Angelica, you have a question. Craig, thank you for your gentle, loving presence. Thank you for your ongoing positive encouragement. After a recent online session, I committed to the 3-day retreat of solitude and stillness. It was so helpful to allow myself. It helps me to speak to my sister and others with love, especially the ones I recently lost. There is no way but through it to come out to the other end. Wishing you a beautiful Christmas. Yeah, same to you, Angelica. Same to you. This is the truth, So often on the path, when things get hard, when it gets difficult, when we feel overwhelmed, it's good for us to take some personal retreat time. Take some personal retreat time, to have some time alone, to have some time in silence. This can be so supportive for us on the path. If you feel like you're on the edge of just getting ready to explode, it's probably time for a retreat. It's time to let go. It's time to go do a good 90-minute yoga class, or get on the massage table, or whatever it is, or do some trauma release exercises. You have to be aware of your body. You have to be aware of your emotions. You have to be aware of what's happening within us. If you're not aware, you just get lost in the dream state of the mind. Okay, another question here. Craig, my mind is sometimes going crazy. I can't focus at all. I somehow registered that when energy is hitting the solar plexus, I'm starting to feel insane and anxious. My friend, attach yourself to the Dharma. Attach yourself to the Dharma. When Christ was in the desert, he stayed with the truth. He was attached to the truth. And when the devil came to visit him, the devil was simply his own mind, but when the devil came to visit him, he said no. No to anxiety, no to depression, no to, the fantasies of this and that. No. No. So you must go forward in the light, my friend. You're not going crazy. What's happening is you're waking up. You're telling me you cannot focus at all? Can you breathe? Just breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. Let this be your path. Let everything else come and go, my friend. My Lord, if we all just did this, if we just breathed and let the pain, the confusion, the anxiety come and go, we'd all be so much better off. Okay, here's a question. From Dawn. Is that a form of Kundalini when one speaks in tongues? Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. I think when people's energy system wakes up, their body can do all kinds of funny, silly things. Yes, you can speak in tongues, you can tremble, you can shake, you can have convulsions, you can see lights and visions and have psychic abilities, and all this cities and all kinds of things can wake up within you. But the good news is you don't have to worry about any of it. You just have to breathe in and out and stay with the truth. If you stay with the truth, you don't get confused. But the more you get confused by the phenomena that's arising, then it's just like being in the dream state. You just get lost in the dream state. If you truly want to be awake in the world, you must get to know this quiet presence. This awake awareness is what you are. Everything else comes and goes. Awake awareness is what you are. It's your nature. Everything else comes and goes. Everything else is temporary. So can you give yourself to the one who simply sees? The one who has a good, loving heart. The one who is eternally innocent and free. Can you give yourself to this? And so, it's so good to see you all. Because I forgot to mention the retreat. I know it's the Christmas season. Give yourself the gift of retreat. Come join us in Carbondale, right outside of Aspen. The 18th through the 20th. I hope to see you there. With so much hubbub with Christmas and all the craziness of family and the stress and all this silliness that's going on. Give yourself the gift of retreat. How many of us need more stuff, more plastic stuff, more clothes, more this or that gadgets? What we truly need is silence. What we need is freedom. What we need is compassion. What we need is to discover our goddess nature. We don't need more junk. How the world would change when we get to know what we truly are. Truly are. So it's good to see you all. Merry Christmas to you all. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Thank you for spending this time with me. God bless you all. And as always, I appreciate your generous donations. If you'd like to offer some support for this Sangha and this community, you can visit my website, craigholliday.com. Thank you all so much for sharing your hearts, your wisdom, your beauty, your innocence with me. I feel eternally blessed by you, by your divinity. God bless you all and have a wonderful night or morning, whatever time of day it is for you. Peace be with you all. Good night.